2021 brings a lot of hope and promise for so many of us. For individuals and companies, it's also about planning and, in many cases, future-proofing our finances or businesses during these uncertain times. Joining us today is Shrikant Bhat, AIA Head of Funds, joining us from Singapore, and Arleen Guevara, Chief Investment Officer of AIA Philam Life. Welcome to the exchange. Arleen, let's start off with you. It is a new year, there are new hopes and dreams, the economy is on recovery mode. What financial opportunities are out there in order to thrive amid this pandemic?
Hello, Rico. Happy New Year to you and to all your viewers. As you said, there are really a lot of opportunities. We are starting a new year, and coming from adversity, I think there's really a lot of opportunities for us to tap when it comes to financial investing. We've seen some of the sectors that are poised to really take advantage of growth and recovery, and that's something that our investors have to look out for. But at the same time, I think it's very important that investors look at really what their needs are and their risk profile, because we have to also think of what their needs, and protection, for instance, is a basic need. And we at AIA Philam Life cater to the needs of our clients. We have protection products, and going beyond protection, we also have investment products. And we talk of financial savings and then going into investments. We have to also look at not just local investments, but also go beyond and see what's out there in the global markets to tap those opportunities.
And Shrikant, Arleen mentioned that there are several sectors that are poised for growth. Which industries are these that investors could look at?
I think from our perspective, we look at more global trends rather than look at any sector play in a short-term basis. As with any global investing, there are obvious opportunities by tapping into global trends like digitalization, advancements in medicines, but it has to be complemented by looking at how to allocate these across these asset classes in a deliberate and a thoughtful manner, so as to deliver long-term outcomes for our clients. So yes, we are looking at some of these themes, but we are also cognizant that our customer needs are really long-term. So these, the themes I just mentioned, those are the ones we look to capitalize on as we build our portfolios for the long term.
Shrikant, your group suggests that it's best for Filipinos not to only look at investing locally, but also globally. How does this work?
Yeah, I think the first I would look at what are the benefits of investing globally, and to tap into opportunities to enhance returns by looking at global trends like the ones I mentioned. Diversify the risk of your portfolio by being able to allocate across asset classes and regions, thereby diversifying the risk from your local market concentration. And third is to be able to tap into high quality managers who are really good at what they do and have the ability to deliver outcomes along these various themes. So I think those benefits really help to bring together the advantages of investing globally.
And Arleen, for a Filipino investor, when will he or she know when it is best to invest here in the Philippines or abroad?
Okay, as I said, it's important that investors look at their needs and their risk profile. And when it comes to needs, I guess I said the basic need is protection. And beyond protection, they can look at long-term savings. Are they looking to invest for their retirement, for the education of their children, or maybe for leaving a legacy to the next generation? Then they will have to go for a long-term view, a longer-term view for that, and they can go and invest globally if the investment opportunities locally are not really sufficient to fulfill those requirements. And what we have done in AIA Philam Life is to partner with AIA Investment Management, where Shrikant is with, so that we can come up with funds that will allow our clients to invest globally. I say that there really is no perfect time to do it or not to do it, but what is important is we achieve that diversification so that clients will spread out their risk and they are able to take advantage of growth in sectors that may not be present locally. And so the funds that we have put together are things that will cater to the needs of these clients of ours. We cater them and we tailor fit them according to the risk profile of our clients, putting together funds that are managed by globally recognized investment managers.
But Arleen, it is easier said than done because for many Filipino investors, they know Filipino companies, they know their fundamentals, their earnings, but it is such a big world out there that they're not familiar with foreign companies or foreign funds. How will you educate them? How can they learn more about investing in these international or global funds without them really taking much of a risk?
So that's where trust comes in. They have to really deal with, reputable institutions, those that have good track records. They can rely on financial advisors who are really in the business of knowing, what products will cater to their specific needs. And as I said, with Philam Life partnering with AIA Investment Management, that's where that expertise comes in. We rely on the global expertise of AIA Investment Management in picking out those reputable fund managers, those mandates that will really cater to the needs of our investors. So I would invite Shrikant to talk more about AIA-IM and how it can really bring forth that expertise to our clients.
Yeah, because let me ask you this question, Shrikant, no? Because there's still a lot of risk out there as we face this COVID-19 pandemic. And what are some of the common mistakes that investors make, and how can this be avoided?
Yeah, so as Arleen articulated, there are obviously the normal investment process that investors follow, which is looking at the risk profiles and going through constructing the portfolios. But it's easier said than done because missteps that customers might take or clients might take are essentially, number one, is a misalignment of the investment time horizon. So investors' needs are typically long-term. They actually look at retirement. They're looking at creating a corpus for handing money over to the next generation. These can be thought of in terms of decades, really. But what typically happens is investment strategies are thought of more in terms of months or years. So there's a misalignment here because of that. Second is misalignment of the customer's interest. Customers are again interested in really long-term outcomes, as we just spoke about. But the advice they will receive will be typically based on more short-term activities and short-term events, and of course the conflict of interest that would be there because a lot of firms would look at their objectives from an annual perspective and not necessarily from a very long-term perspective. So the misalignment of interest. The third is really about the ability for the ability to basically marry these two and keep it on track. And the way you manage the oversight on these managers, that needs to be really solid because one has to be able to look at the tactical opportunities that come from short-term events, but not let those short-term events derail the long-term picture. So, we look at news on a daily basis, and that tends to get us quite excited. But to really look at it from a long-term perspective and keeping the long-term view in mind is a very critical process.
And Arleen, we want to invest because we want not only to secure our futures, but also our family's future. Not only the near term, medium term, but also the long term. But these days, Arleen, there are quite a number of investment scams. As the digital platform has accelerated, we may receive an email, a text, or a call asking us to invest in this money fund or a pyramid scheme. What do we need to know to protect ourselves from these frauds?
Yes, as you said, they really are out there, these scammers. So we know that with this pandemic, what the trend has been is for interest rates to come down, right? So I think one red flag that we see is, when customers or when people get these invites where a promise of a high interest rate or high rate of return is given, then that's already a red flag. If it's too good to be true, then it's really too good to be true. And you really have to trust the source of these offers and make sure that and you can always validate the source before you make any decision. Have your trusted financial advisor have that conversation with them and deal with reputable institutions like AIA Philam Life, so that you will be able to avoid getting into something that you haven't really planned to. As I said, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Thank you to you both for your investment advice on the exchange. AIA Head of Fund Shrikant Bhat joining us from Singapore, and AIA Philam Life Chief Investment Officer Arleen Guevara.